Former flat earthers. What made you come round? Kyrie Irving hasn't been doing press conferences. Quote I got from somewhere. For 5 years I believed the earth was flat, then I turned 6. I was debating a flat earther in Mexico, and I asked him about how GPS worked if there were no satellites. He said that they had devices in the ground to route you. I told him the Mexican government is barely able to put decent water pipes in the ground. Would he really think they had the tech to put routing devices in the ground? He chuckled with a 1,000-mile gaze. A serious answer here. The thing that made me stop was just the question, why would NASA lie to you? Had to travel to Japan, gave up on my beliefs in order to make a shorter trip. If someone starts as a round earther and then converts to being a flat earther and then goes back to being a round earther, would you say they've come full circle? The Mobius strip earthers had more compelling arguments. I watched a documentary about flat earthers called Truth Behind the Curve, and my analysis from watching that these flat earthers are a group of people who found a community to be a part of. It's a shame their community is based on a lie, but I saw a bunch of people who were to be part of a community. Most of the people were social awkward and whatnot, and so an opportunity to be an influential figure within the community, so they doubled down on their flawed logic. The more against you are of them, the harder they rep their flatness. TLDR, I see flat earthers as a group of lonely people looking for a community that will accept them. I was tired of living life on the edge. No one took me seriously. I tried to convince others that the earth is a circle, but they wouldn't listen. It's pointless. It was a typo. We discovered the earth was *fat. Not just heavy. Not merely big-boned, but genuinely *fat. Fat Earthers United. Yet, you really need to use the serious tag. People on here are idiots, lol. Look, it's really easy. If the earth is flat, there would be an edge, S. And there would be a fucking Disney park at the edge, and we could bungee jump off the side and paraglide into the void, etc., etc. Someone would be making an absolute shit ton of money off of it, if it existed. Guess what? Nobody is doing that. ADN in this world where absolutely everything is exploited for profit, if no one is making money off of it, it does not exist. No edge. Not flat. Get a clue? There are flat earthers all over the globe. I saw Yo Mama and thought, there's no way the earth can be flat. I went to kindergarten and saw a globe. Did any of you former flat earthers just believed because you wanted to be unique and different from everyone else? I suspect that some people who deny shit like this are the same people who just wants to be different. They'll say they disliked a movie because the majority likes it. They'll say they don't enjoy a type of food 'cause most do. Basically, they don't really care how they truly feel about something. They just want to be different and say the opposite of the majority. Maybe not with everything. But they'll choose a few things in life because they want to feel special. I'm upvoting just for the pun. I'd see what people think about the shape of the earth as long as we all agree that we kinda need to do something about it so that we don't perish. I convinced a flat earther, temporarily, by asking him if it was possible for a sphere to be so large that you could not tell it was a sphere by simply being on the surface of it. It took him a while. I used an analogy of a extremely long line that was so slightly curved you could not tell so by looking at a small section of it. Eventually he said yes to the sphere, and I told him that was how big the earth is. A few days later he reverted. Most if these people aren't mentally stable, they believe in a lot of conspiracies. It took about 5 years. It was a lot of willful ignorance on my part. I just refused to question the logic of it. In fact, I spent most of my time coming up with crazy fantasies about a lot of things I didn't understand. But you have to understand that there is just so much we don't know about that sometimes our priority on what is real and what can be believed can get confused. I was learning so much so fast that I really didn't question something so inane as the world being flat. Of course it was, why wouldn't it be? The day that changed it forever though was when I asked my father what happens when you get to the edge of the world. He of course said the world is round like a ball. Being about 5 years old I thought that made a lot of sense. I smoked DMT and visited space aliens. We looked at Earth from their ship. Definitely a globe. Surprisingly enough. Facts and logic. More specifically star patterns. What we observe cannot happen on a flat Earth. Man, I figured there would only be a couple legit ones but I was really interested. Instead it's the same tired-ass jokes you've been recycling for the past few years. Don't you guys get tired of upvoting dogshit like there's flat earthers all over the globe? I was lonely, and everyone else was having a ball. 404 serious not found. I'm not a flat earther, but I wanna ask them, why would NASA and the government lie to you? Why would they spend extra energy and time and money and whatever faking shit like the moon landing and outer space pictures of Earth? I spent about a year infiltrating the flat Earth community on Instagram. I garnered a decent following with an account dedicated to flat Earth travel photos, an intentionally absurd premise. In that time I learned quite a bit about the community, including how to discern the trolls from the real deal. The majority of legit flat earthers are extremely distrustful of anything the government says or does. These same people are 9/11's truthers, Holocaust deniers, and anti-vaxxers, and they connect these conspiracies together. Many of them have also attached flat earth theory to religion, magic, or mysticism. Before my infiltration I'd always considered conspiracies fun. Like they were the fan fiction of real life. Now they mostly make me sad. For all the phony accounts like mine, there are still plenty of people out there willing to drop a couple of $100 on a flat earth convention. There wasn't enough evidence to support flat earth, so I had to find a way round it. I'm disappointed the majority of these answers are jokes. I am genuinely interested in hearing some serious answers to this. Man, we really need this knowledge now. I don't know how we are going to reach Stop the Steal truthers when they already think they know more than the Supreme Court, 60 Republican and Democratic appointed federal judges, every state election commission, every Republican and Democratic governor, Trump's, now former, right-hand man and Attorney General of the United States William Barr, and the party warrior and Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Somehow, we have to find a way. I was thinking the other day about whether the Flat Earth movement shows us the way out of this situation America finds itself in, because it seems to be a very similar phenomenon. Good question, OP. I always have two questions for flat earthers. Do you believe in Pearl Harbor? If yes, can you explain to me Japan's flight path? So no one with serious responses. I was kinda looking forward to reading the replies. It was fun until the anti-vaxxers/maskers started taking it seriously, then the magic was gone, it was no longer fun being daft. Kindergarten. My answer to flat earthers is, why does the moon and all the other planets look round? Are they standing on their edge? Feel bad for flat earthers. A couple years ago they were the worst. And then Canon stole all their shine. Had I see what you did there? The realization that if the Earth was actually flat, the cats would have pushed everything off the edge by now. They must have just lost their edge. Upvoting for the title. My Phil is a flat earther and all-around nutcase. I asked him if the Earth was flat and you was right, what then? How is your life any different? His face was priceless because he didn't have an answer. It was great. Personally, I don't think the flat earth is a myth. Just a rounding error. I'll see myself out. I talked to a flat earther about my job working for a company that tracks ship locations, routes, and speeds by satellite. We also had ways of monitoring carbon emissions based on fuel consumption and known weather conditions. None of this would work at all if the Earth was flat. Not a jot of it. I could only explain the most basic concepts, but it was enough for him to understand and realize that I was right and that had been convinced by someone who had no practical experience of the spherical nature of the Earth. I think that's what really did it. My experience was really tangible. This happens, then we measure this, etc., etc. No theory, just practice. A bit like showing a child a rock dropping to the ground in order to explain gravity, rather than giving them the whole theoretical shebang. Edit, sorry it's a bit rambling, I'm so damn tired. Our government couldn't even keep Bill Clinton's Oval Office blowjob a secret. You really think they can keep something that big a secret? I once had a conversation with a professional UFC fighter and outspoken flat earther. I tried to explain how Archimedes was able to prove the Earth was round just by using his shadow. I mentioned air travel and how Hawaii and Japan are not 20+ hours of flying apart. But what I think got through to him the most was seasons. This particular guy was Brazilian. I explained that because the Earth is round, it's possible to be winter in Brazil and summer in the USA and vice versa. He nodded and stared off into the distance silently, and the conversation was over. I don't think I converted him, but it gave him significant pause at the very least.